Hi guys, my name is Victoria and I'll be your trip leader today. I'm joined today by a group of 4 very experienced and fun guides, Ollie, Sam, Audrey, and Austin. We have a great trip planned for all of you today. However, I'm going to need some assistance from our last members of the crew, which is you. I need you to listen and understand the following briefing I'm about to give you so that you're aware of the risk you are taking and what you can do to ensure that you are as safe as possible during the trip. Today we'll be running a 10-kilometer strip of the Red Deer River. The rapids we will encounter range from class 1 all the way up to class 4, 1 being more of like a casual float and 4 being pretty rowdy. The weather today is supposed to be a beautiful 28 degrees Celsius with nothing but sun. And today we'll be taking you on a 4-hour adventure, stopping part way in an open beach area to have a tasty lunch created by our staff. So please inform any of our guides if there are any allergies or dietary needs that we need to accommodate, and we'll do so accordingly. While on the river, there are a few things to be aware of. Since we are traveling on water, you need to be aware of what happens if you fall in. The water here is glacial fed, therefore it's cold, so be prepared to get a bit of a shock when you first hit the water. If this happens and you are close to the boat, you can swim towards the boat so that our guides are able to help you get back in. However, if you're unable to reach the boat, swim to a safer area and the guides will inform you of before every rapid. Your guides will go over everything once you're actually in the raft on shore, and I'm going to go over a bit in more detail later on in the briefing. If after getting out of the water you feel extremely cold, please let a guide know and they can assist you. We ask that everyone wears the provided wetsuits that we give you and bring any extra layers that you feel is necessary. You'll be required to wear both an issued helmet and life jacket throughout the entire trip, except while we're having lunch. The sun is extra hot today, so please continue to drink water throughout the day and ensure you're equipped with sun protection. If you're in dire need of assistance in and out of the water, seek the attention of the closest guide to you. We'll be keeping a close watch on you while you're out in the water. However, if you need immediate assistance, scream, wave your arms, do whatever you need to get the guide's attention. You as clients do not need to be as in top-notch shape like our guides, but what you need out there is a good attitude and a willingness to learn. We accommodate for almost every level of fitness and mobility. You do not need to be an Olympian. Our guides are experts and they'll be able to aid you throughout the entire trip. So please inform your guide of any specific assistance you need during the trip. During the trip, the guides will be asking you to paddle in different ways, and you'll be briefed on these paddle techniques, signals, and verbal commands when you are on the river. Besides paddling, the only other physical involvement will include the possibility of swimming. Our guides will do our best to keep you out of the water unless you tell them otherwise. However, you need to be prepared to swim. So before the trip, we ask you to inform myself and/or your boat guide of any medical or physical condition, including any medications you'll need. We need this information in order to ensure your safety throughout the entirety of the trip. If there's any time during the trip where you feel unwell or requiring assistance with your condition, please inform any of the guides immediately. Ultimately, it is your responsibility to inform us of any discomfort. So during or before the duration of the trip, there is absolutely no tolerance for alcohol or drugs. Anyone who is suspected to be under the influence will be asked to leave the trip with no refund. Consumption of such substances can put both you and your crew in an unsafe position. So although we want you to enjoy the trip and have fun, you need to also be aware of the risk, which includes being aware of yourself. So please, in addition, please let the guides know if there's any problem with the equipment that is issued to you while you're out there. That's something you can bring up with your guides. While on the river, you expect all participants to conduct themselves in accordance with the rules outlined by the company. Although we want you to have fun on the trip, we want you to do so within the company boundaries, and this should all be outlined in the waiver that you signed when you first got here. So this means things like listening to your guide, paying attention during the trip, avoiding any physical or verbal violence. If you follow the commands of the guide and act as a helpful and fun member of the crew, you'll have a great day. Refusing to comply with the rules set out will result in removal without refund. A quick reminder that if you're not yet signed the waiver form that we gave you, you'll need to do so immediately, or if there's anything you did not understand while filling out the waiver form, you can also take that up with me or one of your guides. So during the trip, you'll be given a couple pieces of equipment. So one is a paddle. So we ask that if you fall out of your boat, you do your best to keep your paddle with you. However, if it's impeding your ability to swim properly, just let it go. We'll pick it up for you. That's just one thing. Our guides, once you're actually in the boats and we're on the actual beach, they will do they'll do a paddle demonstration with you, teach you how to go through all the paddling techniques, and as well as teach you all the commands they'll be saying while you're out there. When you actually fall out of the boat, make sure that you kind of are aware of where your paddle is. That's why we kind of ask you to hold on to it a certain way, just so it doesn't smack the head of the person in front of you. The other piece of equipment you need to be cautious of while you're out there is the actual raft. So the rafts do have a tendency to flip in some parts of the river, so you need to be aware of where the actual raft is landing and make sure it's not on your noggin. The guides will be yelling when they go to flip the raft back up, so you just need to be aware and have your ears open and just know what's happening around you. While on the river, there are obstacles and hazards to be aware of, so while swimming, we want you to keep your legs up while you're on your back, as if you're sitting in like a lazy boy chair. We ask that you keep your head above water and looking forward, and do not stand up in the water. I'll say this again, do not stand up in the water. Even if the water seems shallow enough, we don't want to risk getting your foot stuck. If you are stuck in the water at all, try not to panic and just raise your arms high so the guides can spot you and come rescue you. The rescue method will be either pulling you back into the raft or throwing you a rope, which we will yell rope with it as well. We have a safety boat at the bottom of every run, which will be there to pick up any stragglers. If there's any objects while you're swimming that are blatantly in the water, like a large rock, just do your best to swim away from it. The commands that will be used on the river will be taught by the guide in each boat. In the first and the last boat, there will always be a first aid kit, just so you're aware that we do have that in our possession. If an emergency occurs and we need an evacuation, we ask that everyone remains calm and stays in their boat while we deal with the situation. We'll ask for assistance if needed. If you get separated from the group during this trip at all, try to swim to shore as soon as possible while exercising the previous statements on water safety. If a guide becomes injured while on the water, let another guide know as soon as possible by waving your arms or yelling to get their attention. We want to ensure that your safety is our #1 priority, and in order to do so, we will need your cooperation. So if there was anything that was unclear in the briefing, or anything you want me to go over again, or if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask now, or if you're uncomfortable asking in front of the group, you can approach me personally or your raft guide. So let's gear up and go have some fun.